Hello and welcome to the first in a short series of Diagnostik80'S reviews with me as your host, Diagnostik80, obviously. In this particular series I recently travelled to Boss Fight HQ and managed to steal production samples of their awesome Wave 5 Vitruvian HACKS figures, and I'll be starting with Darsalk the Half-Orc Mage. So as I mentioned, I visited the new swanky Boss Fight HQ a little while back, and while I was there I saw the as yet unreleased Wave 5 of Vitruvian HACKS. I also sneakily filmed short reviews of each and Snowden'd my way out of the building like a boss, with this secret intel in hand. Don't worry, Boss Fight will never find out as long as I remember not to post this to YouTube. So first up we have the Half-Orc Mage Darsalk. You thought you were going to get away with the history lesson on this one, didn't you? So, Orcs then. In short, the name we believe derives from the Latin word orcus, meaning hell, and the Anglo-Saxon word orc, meaning demon. The actual creature comes from a number of different sources, including European fairy tales that travelled over to 17th century England. The term orca was used synonymously with ogre at the time, and over the decades since has managed to differentiate itself from the now larger and more solitary ogre as we know it, with orca changing to simply orc. We can thank English writer, poet, philologist and university professor J.R.R. Tolkien and his work on The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings and The Silmarillion for the modern use of the term. Tolkien often used goblin to describe the orcs in his early work, and that had a lot to do with the connections of the two terms in Anglo-Saxon culture and the fact that he used George MacDonald's The Princess and the Goblin as an inspiration for the orc race. Tolkien described orcs as having a human shape of varying size, ugly and filthy, with a taste for human flesh, very much like myself. They are fanged, bow-legged and long-armed, and some have dark skin as if burned. Tolkien never got the chance to pin down a specific origin for the orc species, which means we end up with a number of backgrounds for these horrid beasts, including being bred from the heats and slimes of the earth, descendants of East Elves, corrupted beasts of humanoid shape, fallen Maiar, who are divine beings, or even corrupted men. In modern times, the Lord of the Rings films have given us a rather dark and bleak vision of orcs, ranging in sizes with hideous features, including scars, pointed ears, piercings, and in some cases, long matted hair. Orcs have also seen use in the Warhammer series of tabletop games, World of Warcraft, and a number of other films and computer games over the years, often portraying the beast as green-skinned brutes with lower tusks and underbites. Boss Fight have certainly taken inspiration from the latter designs, utilising the green skin, lower underbite tusks and pointed ears. Paddy Lennon described the original orcs in their bios as one-dimensional fighters for gold, brutish, violent, simple and untrustworthy, with a fear of heights and dragons. Pretty standard really. This half-orc mage isn't out yet, so we don't know the ins and outs of his backstory, but we can still check out the toy to see if we can find any clues regarding his origins. The figure is so much fun, and we get a first appearance from this awesome new tree branch accessory with a tiny fairy trapped in a cage. Bit harsh of course when you think about it, but so very cool as an accessory, and it makes you wonder what purpose she serves all caged up like that. I could imagine that he shakes her cage to extract fairy dust to allow travel to Never Never Land. The Pan version, not the Jackson version. Alternatively, they could be companions, and she is in there of her own free will, but that will be explained in the bio when it's revealed, so I will stop speculating. He is effectively a cross between an orc and Felonious the Mage, which also makes me wonder if this is actually Felonious after a spell mishap. I look forward to hearing the bio on this one, and wouldn't be surprised if we have a connection to the mage of some kind when the info gets revealed. I really love the mixture of materials used in this figure again. The cloth works really well with the harder plastic elements, and the accessories are really cool, just as they were with Felonious. The book will have the writing added for the official release, and the fire can be attached like so to make it appear as though some crazy spell is being summoned. The orc head is great and works well here as a more chilled out orc, or a chalk. The figure will also come with 2 spare hands and a figure stand like most of the figures Boss Fight release. The figure is easy to dismantle and put back together of course. The figures are brilliant like that. The only issue is getting that cloth piece back on properly again, but it does go on, you just have to be careful when pushing the torso back together and sliding the arms back in. You probably won't need to break him up in any case, but just in case you do, now you know. Overall, I really like the idea of mixing the species here and having an orc who doesn't fit the usual brutish, violent warrior stereotype. On the surface, it would appear that Darsalk is very different from the depiction of orcs we have been exposed to in previous media, with his calmer demeanour, less aggressive stature and wizard-like appearance. I fully expect the fairy to be a travelling companion who has the ability to get out of that cage whenever she wants, but I could also see her as a prisoner who is used by Darsalk for his own spells and so on. The bio will clear that right up, we will just have to be patient. That's it from me for this one. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you for the next figure from this as yet unreleased wave of hacks, Sam Hain the Feardorker. I have been Chris McLeod, and you have been wondering how I got into Boss Fight HQ without being arrested or flogged. PS, these beauties will be available at some point in 2019, so just chill the out and be patient.